Hello and welcome to your Grow Groups this week. My name is Jessica and we are so excited to have you gathering as we begin our new series, Jesus in Real Life. We're going to spend the next 7 weeks talking about the 7 I am statements of Jesus. 7 statements that Jesus said that he is like something that we get to experience in real life. This series, you'll notice, if you've been watching our Grow Groups for a while, we have some questions that are consistent throughout this series that are helping us to lean into reflection in new and different ways. So see, as we continue going on, how your answers might change or grow, or maybe even how you're looking ahead to answering these questions each week. This week, I'm joined by Jen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
So good. I'm so glad you're here.
Good. Thank you for
You're
having
such
me.
a light to me.
Aw, thanks.
Yes. Truly, every time I see you walking down the hallway, just it makes me so happy.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Well, today we're talking about how Jesus is the light of the world. And so first, I'm curious, how do you feel about fireworks?
Oh, well, I respect fireworks. You know, my dad was the safety king. So, of course, we were all taught very early how to handle fireworks. But secretly, I love them. I love the design and the bursts and all of that. And my favorite fireworks display was at Fort Leavenworth. I loved it. The band comes marching over the hill. The fireworks were amazing. And it was the perfect weather. It was like 76 degrees. This was 4th of July, 1997, and I still remember it.
I love that. We grew up with fireworks too. We loved them. I even remember after we moved, so I had to have been at least 8, but we lived on a cul-de-sac, and Dad would be like, go light this one. And we got to safely learn how to do it from a young age, but also how to be brave. He loved going downtown to Parkville because that way you could feel the boom. But my favorite memory was Christmas on the River of 2011. After the park had flooded and we lost a lot of trees, and so they made this huge bonfire. So it's very cold and you're holding the hot cocoa with the bonfire behind you and fireworks.
And then watching that go. Yeah. My parents don't live too far away from that, so we just get to sit on the front steps of their house and watch.
Even better.
All of it. Yeah. It's pretty cool too. You don't have to wait in line for the porta potty, so it makes it better.
You get a clean bathroom. I love that. So we have this idea that Jesus is the light of the world, and I love that in fireworks, right? The way they just light up the night sky. But I'm curious, what do you first think when you hear that Jesus is the light of the world?
I kind of lean back into, that flashlight, when you're in a dark room and you can just see maybe the light that's peering out from under the door outside or your night light. It's just a guide, a presence, a calming sense of peace, of something is to come. It's expectation. It's so many things.
There were just so many beautiful visuals in that you just shared.
Yeah. When you go to the eye doctor and you have to look at the light and it's blurry, 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 and then all of a sudden a hot air balloon or whatever appears. I feel like that's kind of like my mantra for life. Just keep looking at the light. Just keep seeking Jesus. Just keep following Jesus. It will become clear one time. We will see that hot air balloon eventually. It might not be in my timing, but it will happen.
Oh my gosh. I've never been to the eye doctor.
Oh.
So what a cool illustration. But I've heard about the hot air balloon. I didn't know about the light that came before it.
Yeah, so you have to stare at this green light and you are just supposed to let your eyes focus on the green light, and then all of a sudden you see like an image and it's really blurry, and then all of a sudden it's beautiful. It's a hot air balloon on a road, and then it tells you how poorly you are actually seeing. But yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, just keep walking in faith, seeking that, searching for that light, finding that light, following that light.
That's beautiful. I think I've always kind of been stuck more in like the candle having its light and how we're drawn into that. Not to sound too much like a moth to a flame, but a little bit of trying to stay within that space. And then I'm wondering too if this is just why I was afraid of the dark as a child. Of just this, like, what is this absence of light or direction or guidance or the revelation we'll get someday.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's just so many times in your life where things feel dark, but that doesn't mean that God has abandoned you. It just means things are a little differently working out a little differently than we'd have them, but we still have to seek that light and find it and also be it. So I think that's important too.
Absolutely. Well, then I'm curious, how has following Jesus brought light into your life?
Oh, well, just to kind of go along with that, like Jesus's direction. When you're feeling lost and in those storms of life or that kind of thing, we can hold on to that. We just had our third grade Bible presentation on Sunday, and Matt sang, "I am holding on to you." And I thought that when I was thinking about this, that's what I feel like. Even in the storms and even in the crazy times of life, there's peace to be had because we know we have this loving Savior.
I think that's beautiful. Yeah, I think I've almost even felt it as light as in weight in those times of that like peace without understanding too, where I felt the lightness of Jesus. Like, I don't have to worry about this.
No.
I don't have to carry about this.
No.
I don't have to figure it out.
No, and you don't have to fake it. Yeah. You can come to God and be who you are because honestly, there's no secrets. Every thought is already understood, so it's like that vulnerability. You can be vulnerable and you can say, I am feeling ill-equipped. I am feeling burdened, but we are told to take his yoke. And so trust and take it and the burden is going to be lighter.
Yeah.
And it is.
It is. So great. So as we are trying to take this Jesus in real life into our real lives, we're trying to think of a practical thing to remind us of Jesus each week. So I'm curious, how could you remember Jesus every time that maybe you turn on a light?
I practice this in life all the time. I read a devotion years ago that said, in the quiet moments, just whisper Jesus or whisper thank you or that kind of thing. And so when I think about this question, I think this is an opportunity. Every time that something becomes clear, or every time you get to turn on the light and see, easier into a room, or maybe you feel lightened by something, to say, God, I thank you for that. I thank you for being the light of the world. I thank you for the promises you've made and the promises you keep, and just continuously being aware of the many gifts that we've been given, because it's easy to get sidetracked sometimes. And I think turning on those lights is a normal, everyday thing. And so every time we turn that on, if we remember that we are loved, that we are valued, that God is going to be there through thick and through thin, I think that's how I'll remember him.
I love that. A lot of my lights come on automatically. I've got a lot of timers set. And so I was trying to think too, like maybe even when they come on as like the reminder of, oh, Jesus, right? Like we get, thank you for this light and these beautiful gifts that you give us every day. And a lot of my lamps have grow bulbs in them for my plants. So when they turn off at night, even just a thank you of the substance that we get.
Absolutely. Because we need light to live and grow. Yeah, I love it.
I love it. Can't wait for us to carry these into our weeks. We can't wait for you to carry Jesus into real life in your week as well. We thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to see you next week as we continue Jesus in real life.